So, here we go. Day 1, Unit 3, Circles and Conics. Today's going to be super easy. We should have about 20 minutes of work time. So we had first hour. So if we can get through this quickly, we'll have a lot of work time because it's a lot of review stuff. All we're doing today is talking distance and midpoint formula. Throughout the unit, we're going to talk about circles. We're going to talk about ellipses, hyperbolas. Talk a little bit about parabolas, which we did last unit. But it's any sort of conic. To begin with, though, like I said, we're going to do distance and midpoint formulas today. So the first thing I want you to do is open up your note packet and grab the following 3 points and connect all those points. Yes, sir.
Time on my hands.
Yes, time on my hands. So if you have not already, please grab points A, B, and C and then connect them.
Is that clearly the answer?
Time on my hands. Yep.
Oh, I just realized that it wasn't spelled on.
How'd you do one line?
Wait, what?
I mean, like,
How'd you
what?
connect one line?
Oh wait, it's supposed to be a triangle?
Yep.
It's
Guys, quiet. Hey, graphing the points doesn't require talking. Thank you. I mean, unless you want to go sit in the hallway, Cal. It hasn't been a great morning today, so.
He does that floater thing every time.
Yes,
I know
Cameron.
it probably didn't go this, but when you're writing the length of it, do you have to like do a point or just like?
What do you mean? So, like, what is the length? That it would just be one number. However long that is. Yep. Okay. So, everyone should have drawn their picture here. What type of shape is that? Not any type of triangle. I'd say right triangle. Very good. So, get your right triangle. Right triangle. Okay. What is the length of BC? 4. Cal, how'd you get 4? You said 4, right? Cal?
Who, me?
Yeah, did you say 4? No? Who said 4 back there? Cameron? How'd you get 4? I counted. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So, length of BC is 4. What about the length of AC?
3.
Count it. 1, 2, 3. How? Ooh, that's not a good 3. Okay. What about AB? Can I just count the boxes on AB?
No.
No, it's not nice like that. So, first of all, what do we call AB? When that's that side of the right triangle? Hypotenuse. Very good. It's a great vocab word. Hypotenuse. Okay.
Are you gonna do sine, cosine, sine?
Hey guys, what theorem do we use to find that third side?
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Good. Well, hey, if we talk about the length of the hypotenuse, that can also be considered the what between the 2 points. So if I have length, right? So if I'm talking about the length of this line, that's also the what from this point to this point? The distance, right? So Pythagorean theorem can be used to find the distance between 2 points. Guys, the reason we're doing this is because the distance formula we're about to show you is derived straight from Pythagorean theorem. That's how we get it. So that was what this whole little explanation is about. So you can see distance formula is right from Pythagorean theorem. So, the distance formula, if we have points A and B, we're going to take x2 minus x1 and square it. And we're going to add y2 minus y1 and square it. That's like a squared plus b squared. And then take the square root of it. So I'll take the square root of c squared to find c, right? So this is just straight from Pythagorean theorem. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And take the square root of it all. Now, does it matter which one's x2, which one's x1, which one's y2, which one's y1? No, because I'm squaring it. I'll either get the positive or the negative when I square it. Doesn't matter if I have 5 or negative 5, it comes out to 25 anyway. So it doesn't matter what order I put them in there, it should all be worked out. Alright, so this is our distance formula. If you've not written that down in your paper, I highly suggest you do so, because we're about to use it a bunch of times. Okay, so let's try it. Find the distance from C to D. Well, to do that, I'm just going to plug it right into my distance formula. Square root 4 minus a negative 3. Just like plus 3, right? So 4 plus 3 squared plus negative 3 minus 2 squared. Well, once I plug it into the formula, guys, it's just doing math then. I get 4 plus 3 is 7 squared plus negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5 squared. Well, I get 49 plus 25, which is square root of 74. Now, do you think you should change it to a decimal? No, we should probably use simplified radical form. Here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If we are just finding distance, I would like simplified radical form. If we are comparing distances, like if you're comparing the lengths of two lines, then you can use decimals so you can actually see like what the actual length is. Okay? So for this one I want simplified radical form. For the next one we'll do decimals. Because we'll be comparing lines. Okay? Is there any perfect square that goes into 74? Have you tried it? Or are you just guessing? See, now you're just guessing still.
No.
There are no perfect squares going to square root of 74. So that's just my answer. Okay? Alright, the next one. We need to graph 4 points to create 2 lines. And we want to know which one's longest, which one's shortest, and I want to know the difference between them. So the first points, A and B, are negative 4, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. That's A. B is 2, 7. Draw a line. Then P and Q, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. Q is at 2, 1. So what I need to do now is I need to find the length of both those lines, right? I want to know which one's longest, which one's shortest. So I should probably find the distance of the 2 lines. Well, if I do A and B first, square root of 2 points, I forgot already. So 2 minus negative 4 is like plus 4 plus 7 minus 2 squared. Well, that's like saying 6 squared plus 5 squared, which is 36 plus 25, square root of 61. Now, we're going to be comparing 2 lines. So now is when it's okay to make it a decimal so you can actually see the values. Right? So the biggest part, guys, is getting that first line set up and then just doing each step of math. Alright, so square root of 61 in our calculators, what do we get? 7.8. Okay, perfect. Then, I'm going to do PQ. Square root of 2 minus 7 squared plus 1 minus 3 squared. Quiet, fellas. Negative 5 squared plus negative 2 squared. Other words, 25 plus 4, or square root of 29. Like I said, that first step, getting it set up originally, is the most important. From there, it's just adding or subtracting, squaring them, combining them, and taking the square root. Square root of 29.
That's not an even number.
5.4. It's not even numbers. We're going to make it a decimal. Like I said, guys, if we're going, 5.4, not 5.9, sorry. If we are comparing distances, decimals are okay. If we're just finding a distance, I want simplified radical form. Okay? Alright, so we got both distances now. We got AB, we got PQ. Which one's longer? AB, right? 7.8. So it means which one's shorter?
PQ.
PQ. Okay, so that answers your first 2 questions there. And then what is the difference in the length of the 2 segments? How do you find that? Take away or you subtract, right? The difference means subtraction. So 7.8 minus 5.4. And what did you say was 2.4?
Yeah.
So 2.4 units, or you didn't even need a unit because I didn't tell you, right? Okay. Does that make sense, guys? So it's all distance problem stuff. Now let's talk about midpoint. Can't get more. Hey, before I go to the slide with the midpoint formula on it, does anyone remember what the midpoint formula is?
No, that was
Something squared.
This thing.
Yo, a fruit snack if someone can get it.
You said what?
now you want to guess the question.
I don't want to.
No one remembers midpoint?
1 second.
No, we're looking it up, cheater.
It's divide.
No. Alright, here we go.
Wait, I think I got it. I'm just like looking at my phone.
What's the question?
I knew that.
Midpoint formula. Because we're taking the average of our two x's, that's your x midpoint. Taking the average of the two y's, that's your y midpoint. In other words, shh, guys, quiet. x1 plus x2 divided by 2. That's your x midpoint, right? It's going to come out to a point. A midpoint has an x and a y value. Then it's y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Hey guys, notice, a point has an x comma y, and it has parentheses around it. If you don't put parentheses around it, it's going to be marked wrong. I'm not sure. I gotta look at the test to see if we give it to you. At this point, I would say yes. You should probably memorize it. Those aren't very difficult. We'll have some much more difficult equations later on this unit. But I don't think we'll give you distance and midpoint. I think you have to know those two. Okay. Try example 1. On your paper, do it. Do example 1, please. Use that formula I just gave you and try example 1. Take your two x values, add them together, divide by 2. Take your two y values, add them together, divide by 2.
Did I just die?
Probably.
We should have 2 points, right? An x and a y.
No,
Oh,
I stopped already.
Am I doing it?
This is how bad I am.
You're on the wrong one. No, I'm not.
Okay. Blank, comma, blank. Should be an x and a y.
I like it.
We're doing A, yes.
Oh, why?
Example. Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing?
Is it actually? Well, no, not A.
What are we doing?
So,
We're doing example 1.
Wait, this way.
I don't know.
right here.
Okay.
It's an example.
It's not example 1.
Well, there's example 1. It's,
Yes.
it's updated.
So we need to write down the midpoint equation.
Bro, everyone's weird. You're strange. Well, yeah.
No, we don't do anything with x's and y's together. They're separate. Hey guys, if you notice that first one's actually on the board, the solution right underneath example 1, that's the one. So all I'm doing is I'm taking my two x values, negative 2 and 4. I'm adding them together. Well, negative 2 plus 4 gives me 2, divided by 2 is 1. Right? Then I'm taking my two y values, 5 and negative 1. Adding them together. 5 plus negative 1 is 4, divided by 2 is 2. So my answer is 1, 2. That's what my midpoint would be. Alright? Does that make sense how we do that midpoint formula? It's two separate pieces. We are not combining x's and y's at all with midpoint. Alright, Cam.
For the parentheses, can we just put it around the answers at the end, or do we have to put it around?
If you want to put it just here at the end, that's fine. As long as your answers parentheses are, they don't care what you do before that. Okay. There's 2 more there, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you guys try those 2 as well? Yeah, it is. So good. Right, this is all stuff you did last year. It's crazy.
Yeah, this is
It's
not.
crazy how math just kind of builds on each other, and we try and tell you this. And like the stuff we do this year to use next year. Who would have thought?
That's fine.
No one.
It is not a single.
I don't
Yeah, you
know.
can decimal, it's fine.
What's 2 minus 8?
Yeah, you can.
What's 2 minus 2?
No, I don't, that's what's 2 minus 8. Yeah, oh shit. I didn't, I said 2 minus 8. Yep, I did. It's my
Made
bad.
password? You already got it filled out.
No, this is from last week, she signed it already.
Fill her out quick. Hey, can I get a volunteer to do them on the board or?
I will do one of them.
How about June? You want to do?
No, give Sam Carlos up there.
Sim, you want to do the second one? Okay.
But they're fun. Smartboard is the best one.
Sim, you gotta make sure you wait till she's done though. Okay. Some people go up there and try to write at the same time and they look like fools. I almost said a bad word.
Are they? It might be. I didn't do it yet, that's why
Teachers talk bad about it.
Never.
They definitely do.
Never.
Yes, so many teachers I try to talk about me and I've caught them talking about me. No, I didn't touch them.
But that's why they talk bad about it.
They deserve it.
Because you said this is right.
Yeah, it might be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I said.
Yeah.
We do -7.
That feels like in the
What do we get?
Sounds like crunch.
Oh.
So I think what you're putting the calculator all at once,
Practice.
and it does 5 divided by 2 and then adds figures. So you gotta be careful. So do the top part first, then divide by 2.
No.
You're gonna go change your stuff.
Search your right. Okay, search your right.
Yes, we got it. You wanna change it quick?
You follow the one that makes the L.
Yeah, I got it. Because Abby and I have been trying this 5 times.
I don't know which one makes
We
the L.
can't plug in numbers.
Blind.
Count to
No, this
7.
one.
I'm gonna have to show them real
No,
quick.
you just L. Why not make it L?
Okay, and then this one, if we choose
bad.
plus negative 8 again.
No, it's power. I can't, I'm gonna.
Divided by 2 is negative.
Make it L. Exactly.
Makes
a line. That's because you purposely
What are we doing today?
6 minus 8.
Alright guys, check your answers please!
Oh, God.
Just
I
I don't know what that
You're
is.
at 6.
I don't know. Hey guys,
Looks like what?
she got -1, -3, -1, 4.5. Do we have any questions on that? No? Alright, pretty easy, right? We got 2 problems and we're done today. So here's what's gonna happen. We're now gonna do an extension of the midpoint formula. In other words, an application of midpoint formula. In other words, we're gonna use that midpoint formula we just found, we just used, but in a different way than we have been using it. So, when we were doing the midpoints on that last page, we were given 2 endpoints, correct? Yeah. Now, we're going to be given 1 endpoint, and we're going to be given the midpoint. So we got to figure out a way to use our endpoint formula to find our other endpoint. Our midpoint formula. Okay. Hey, let's just focus on x right now. So not even worry about y. Let's think about it. What was the midpoint formula to find our x at the midpoint?
X1 plus X2 divided by 2.
x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And that equaled what?
That equals.
What does that give us?
That gave us X.
Our x at our midpoint, right? So I'm going to use x with like a subscript m there for x midpoint. Okay? Just kind of how my brain works, I need to label it. So, if I look at that, and I look at what I'm given 1 endpoint, x value, and I'm given the midpoint, x value. Do you think maybe I could plug those 2 values in up here?
I know we could.
Let's try it. -2 plus, hey, do I have a second endpoint? No, so that stays x over 2 equals, my midpoint is 3.
That's
Okay, does that make sense what I just did, how I plugged those in?
Yes.
I plugged, wait, shh, hold on. I plugged in my x from my one endpoint into x1. My x2, I don't have a second endpoint, so it stays as x. And then the x at my midpoint is 3. Okay, so all I do is I plug those in. And now, all I'm going to do is solve for x. So I'm going to multiply by 2. Negative 2 plus x equals 6. And I'm going to add 2. I get x equals 8. So the x for my other endpoint is going to be 8. But now I also have to find my y. It's going to be the same sort of thing. y1 plus y2 over 2 equal the y at our midpoint, right? Well, if I take the y from my first endpoint and the y from my midpoint, and I plug them in, 7 plus y over 2 equals negative 1, I can solve for my other endpoint. So I can multiply by 2, 7 plus y equals negative 2. I can subtract 7, y equals negative 9, and I have my other endpoint. It's at 8, comma, negative 9. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? Cam?
On the first part, I'm confused. What you did with negative 2 plus x equals 6?
Okay, so here,
Yeah.
what are you asking?
Since 2 is on the bottom, did you just had 2 at the top because you have to multiply?
Yeah, so what I did, because I knew I was dividing by 2, to undo that, I just multiplied by 2 on both sides.
Okay.
Then I got to here, and then I added 2 because we had negative 2.
Yeah.
Okay? Does that make sense? Alright. Does that make sense, guys? Do you have any other questions on this one problem? Sweet. When you finish the second problem, you can come show me and get your homework.
Okay.
So you got to finish it. Once you finish it, I'll check it. You have to get it right, and then you can get your homework.
I show you the bell here instead.
Nope.
Yep. I saw the answer, but I don't cheat like that. We have to find it.
Swipe up. Subscribe.
Swipe up.
Mission failed.